Late in the afternoon, Pope Benedict presided over a Mass celebrated in the Franciscan Parish Church of the Holy Cross in the company of priests, deacons, religious, catechists and representatives of ecclesiastical organizations in Cyprus. Welcoming the Holy Father to this Cypriot Latin Rite community, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, His Beatitude Fouad Toile, began with a reference to the sad event which had taken place in the Mediterranean some days before. "Our region is buffeted by so much violence," he said, "and all we can do is to weep for the dead, in particular because they died in the pursuit of peace and justice. But your visit," he told Pope Benedict, "encourages those who work for peace and justice." Yet it was in Jordan, Palestine and Israel that Christian identity was forged, and it was Cypriot Christians who crossed the sea to Antioch in order to preach the good news to the Gentiles, in the long term also to make of us what we are today, a universal Catholic Church. "Today," said Monsignor Toile, "we aim to lay the foundations for a different tomorrow, a tomorrow of dialogue, forgiveness and reconciliation, in order to unify all the inhabitants of this island, Orthodox, Muslim and Catholic." Made up of few original inhabitants and much strenuous work, this Latin Catholic community is a lively one, with its 4 parishes, centres of worship and community life, and its centres of medical and social care. A profound meditation reveals the cross as a symbol which represented, he said, not only an instrument of torture, a sign of suffering, but because of him who was nailed to that cross for our salvation, the final triumph of the love of God over the evil in the world. The cross, he continued, had become the most eloquent symbol of hope that the world had ever seen. The cross speaks to every kind of suffering, he said, to the oppressed, the ill, the poor, victims of violence, and it offers them the hope that God can turn their sufferings into joy and their isolation into communion. The thoughts of the Pope turn to those many priests and religious in the Middle East who experience at this moment in history a special call to reflect the way of the cross. "Where Christians are in the minority," said the Pope, "where they suffer from ethnic and religious tensions, many families make a decision to leave and live elsewhere, and even priests are tempted to make the same decision. In such a situation, priests, a religious community, a parish which remains to bear testimony to the cross of Christ, all these represent an unusual sign of hope, not only for Christians, but also for many others in the region." Once again, the words of a successor of Peter have encouraged this little Cypriot Catholic community, which will soon join the Holy Father in spirit with all the bishops of the Middle East in an assembly in Rome. As he left the church, a group of African faithful gave the Pope a joyful acclaim, which the Holy Father returned.